Welcome to Center Hice Productions. It is October 25th. Could you please hit the likes and the subscribe down below in your right-hand corner? I muchly appreciate your assistance in growing the channel. Thank you very much. And leave your comments as well. Tell your friends and family, pass on the word so we can grow. This is a review of last night's game with the Devils in town to play the Habs. And it went just the way I kind of figured it. Projected a big loss, and we got a big loss. Definitely out of our league. That's why they are one of the number one teams in the league, projected to do some serious damage in the playoffs. They are much further advanced than the Habs. So under the circumstances, we had a game where this was the game we decided to use to introduce Caden Primo. And, some people could say this is throwing Caden to the Wolves. Well, when you got three goaltenders and the other two have played a couple times each, you kind of got to fit the third guy in. And if it's kind of a game that you're not going to be in even with the other two goaltenders. If that's your thought process, then yes, this is it's the perfect game to throw him into. And unfortunately, he is the guy that mostly out of all three of them has to prove something if he wants to stick around. And, it's kind of the Habs saying, show us something. And from what I could see, he started off strong, but went right back to Caden Primo. And I'm sorry, people can look at one or two flashy saves. It's the whole game. He loses track of his net, and he looked like Primo. To me, this guy is not NHL material. At least not unless, by some fluke he ever plays in the NHL. He can't handle playing in Montreal. That is evident. It's too much pressure for him. However, I do not believe that he is NHL material. I think he's a good AHL goaltender. So that being said, and it's not to put it on him. The team stunk in front of him. We know that. Very undisciplined, and the speed of the Devils is just far too much. And it was like Tyler Toffoli back in town. Of course, the mistakes that were made by the defense was, whew. But then, the defense wasn't helped out much by the offense back in their own end either. So just a very sloppy effort for the Habs against them. Once again, Barron comes through. Nice to see. Matheson comes through. So our defense comes through on scoring. I don't know what's wrong with Caulfield and Suzuki. I kind of wonder if Suzuki's hurt. He hasn't been right since the season began, which I know Caulfield hasn't been on the money either, but Caulfield has some glimpses. However, I'm wondering if, because of the situation that it looks like something's wrong with Suzuki, if that is playing effect and paying effect on Caulfield's game. Either way, the two of them need to step up their game. They haven't shown, just because a guy scores goal, I look at Caulfield as a much bigger talent than what he's playing. I just have more expectations from him. And Suzuki, by far, way more expectations out of him offense, because that's their strength, their offensive game. And if they're not doing it offensively, we know their defensive game is not much. So for me, it's a real doozer, and that line has got to wake up. I don't know. Like I said, what's the point of keeping them together if they're not going to do anything with it? So, and if Suzuki's hurt, put him out of the lineup. What's the point? We got nothing to lose. We're not making the playoffs this year. I promise you, we will be a bottom 5 team. Worry not. We are a bottom 5 club. Trust me, we will get a bottom 5 pick this year. And we're just at that level. That's not a knock. Yes, we're going to progress, but it's not going to be a huge progression. We are still a very extremely young team that's making a lot of mistakes. So the final score, anyway, we're going to get to the stats here real briefly and quickly. 5-2 final for the New Jersey Devils. No shocker. 34 shots to 29 of over the Habs. So Devils outshot us. We knew they would. 17 hits to 14. That was fairly close. Faceoffs won. We really put on a stinker last night, and it really looked like actually, well, I mean, Monahan and Evans have been our two top guys in the circle, and they kind of had a stinker of a night in the circle. So Suzuki's average to below normally, and when those are your two front runners in the circle, it's not good when they're having a bad night, and they did. So that really showed its stuff. You don't start with the puck, you're in trouble, especially against a team that is as fast as the Devils. So 38 to 22, that was power play chances. 2 for 4 for the Devils, 1 for 4 for us. And I mean, again, it's yes, you look at it. Yeah, Matheson's goal was nice, and it was yes. I think the Devils were kind of caught with their pants down on it. They were expecting the usual drop pass to Suzuki, which has been the continual play, which has got to be beyond. 'Cause you can't keep using the same play continually, guys. And that's I mean, who's running the power play? I don't get it. But anyway, Matheson made a wise choice in saying, "No, I'm going in myself," and he did a nice goal. And Barron, just good to see Barron score the first goal of the game. So our power play is still a pile of garbage. I mean, we're getting lucky to get one power play goal. That is not resolving when you have the opportunities. That is not resolving your power play overall. So the power play needs to be fixed. Period. 1 for 4 to me is just not enough. It's not enough of an improvement to say, "Oh, we're out of the woods." We're dreaming if we think we are. Then we go to penalty minutes. Each team had 8 giveaways. They had 11. We had 19 takeaways. They took it from us 7 times. We took it 3. Block shots, 12 for them, 20 for us, which was nice to see. That was kind of, I think, their little salute to David Savard. When you hear these guys on some of the podcasts, I get a kick out of them. As English as heck, coming from little towns, and trying to pronounce David Savard's name the French way because they want to look cool. Give me a break, guy. You're not a French. Some of these guys, stop trying to look fancy by putting the accent on David Savard's name. Gets really old and tiring. Be yourself. Okay? That's, man, it's just really interesting, the show that some people got to put on. Okay, so the first period we had, let's see here. Game details. Okay, let's get back here. And we had Toffoli had a phenomenal night. So Jack Hughes was the first star. Toffoli the second star. I mean, Jack Hughes, what can you say? 4 assists, +2. Tyler Toffoli had a wicked night against his old club, 3 goals, +2. And Barron had the lone, 1 goal. So the first period, the game starts off. Montreal scores at 5:49. Justin Barron assisted by Michael Pezzetta. It was a nice one, and similar to the night before, just in the right spot at the right time. Way to go, Justin! I'm tipping my hat off because you're taking full advantage of your opportunities. Good on you. Then at 13:24, Alexander Holtz, assisted by Timo Meyer and Dougie Hamilton. Well, that's kind of a normal trio to expect. Period 2, 18:22. Tyler Toffoli gets his first, assisted by Jack Hughes. No surprise. So you got a lead for the Devils there. Then Nico Herscher, assisted by Jack Hughes. Jasper Bratt on the power play. And that's no surprise either. And then Tyler Toffoli gets his second one on the power play, assisted by Jack Hughes. No shocker. Mike Matheson gets one on the power play, assisted by Cole Caulfield. That was the one where he made a little different. He split the defense himself instead of dropping it back like the usual scheme of dropping it to Suzuki to carry it up. That's just ridiculous that you got to keep using the same guy, the same thing. Everybody knows what you're doing. We're so readable, and we got to get out of that. So that was nice. Mike, you tip my hat off to you because you switched it up and you caught, and that's the way to do it. You caught them with their pants down. So you got our second on goal, and that was at 10:35. 1934, Tyler Toffoli gets the empty netter assisted by Jack Hughes, just to make sure he would get it. So this was it was a stinker. Let's kid ourselves not. The Habs did not play up to par. They were not disciplined. A lot of penalties as usual. It's time for accountability in my books for the Habs. If we're going to take progression forward, it's time to start instilling in the boys discipline wise. There's got to be some type of repercussions, some in one shape, form, or another. I know we're a young, growing team, but it's just you just got to get that instilled. You don't want a losing culture with bad habits going forward. I mean, we're supposed to be looking a little more matured a year later. So I would say time for some switch ups, and that comes down to our coaching implementing things. And if our power play is not the biggest joke in the league, now it's unfortunate because our penalty killing is now dropped a bit. We were doing so good in that department, and our 5-on-5 was we were doing so good, and that's taking a little bit of a drop too, due to the Jersey game. But I wouldn't stress it. But power play, our special teams, we got something to stress there. It's got to change. And again, there's no accountability on the coaching end of it. There's no accountability for the players. There's no accountability for the players when they're taking these dumb penalties. So it's fine that we're not fighting for a playoff spot because we're not good enough. Let's not kid ourselves. We are too young, inexperienced. We got an exciting club. Don't they're young, but you can't make youth be the excuse for having proper discipline. There's got to be a show of this of accountability within the organization. And I don't know if management has to step down and do something just to show that, hey, you can be as nice as you want. You just can't be nice all the way. You sometimes got to ruffle some feathers, And strange enough, it's the old man line has been playing probably the best for Montreal this year, really. And Slavkovsky, he can be as disappointed as he was that Alex Newhook didn't pass it to him. However, we need shots, period. And bottom dollar slab to me. It's been going downhill ever since Doc got injured. There are steps he needs to take in his game, and he needs to take them in Laval. That's evident to me, and I don't know. It's somebody's got to, without crushing the kid, something's got to give. Something's got to give, and I just don't think, with some of the play that's coming out of him, that he's ready for the NHL right now with the mistakes that they're just. It's some of it's even. I hate to say it's effort. He's got to keep his feet moving, and I love the kid. I love this kid's personality, and I back up and say I don't think he's a bust. I think the Habs are doing him injustice by keeping him there. Send him to Laval. Let him have a full year there. And make it demanded out of Uhl that he's on the first line, he's on the power play, he's on the penalty kill. So he gets tons of touches and minutes. Don't come on. We've got to develop this kid properly. And it's great that you wanted it to be Marty with him, and I understood that for somewhat. I still think last year he should have been in Laval and went to the World Juniors for his country. But now, this being the case, it's showing. Yes, there's been improvements in his game, but there's also some other signs of let up in his effort, and that I don't like. And somebody's got to get instill it. You're as big as 6'3". Use that body. Stop being cowarding out. Get in the corners like Newhook. Get in the corners like Josh Anderson. And Josh Anderson, like I say, is unfortunately, I know they didn't have as good of a night last night, but they've played better for the most part, and had to, I commend them in that regard. They've had a half decent season, those two. So Slav's got to bring his game up, and you don't want to drop him down to the third line. It's pointless. He needs to have the touches, so send him to Laval. And like I said, I don't believe he's a bust whatsoever. I think he needs time. You're doing it with your other guys like Waugh. There's no reason why you can't do it with Slav. So that being said, and then the update on David Savard, even I'm a French guy, and because I'm not speaking French, I'm going to say it the way it's uh, pronounced in English. I'm not going to put an accent to a name just to look cool. Not my style. Okay, I think it's hilarious that people do that. But anyway, so it's David Savard. Anyway, we knew with that brilliant effort he made with Buffalo and that little stint of blocking 4 or 5 shots. Yeah, he took one and he busted his wrist. From the report is that it's his wrist that's busted. So I came out a little later with my video because I had appointments. I have to apologize for that, but I didn't get the game live, so I had to go through a lot of highlight film. And yeah, this just didn't look like much of an effort by the Habs. And like I say, let's stop with the nonsense of they threw Primo to the Wolves. We pretty much knew that this game was not going to be ours. And what better? The other two have played a couple games apiece. You got to throw him in there, and it's on him to prove himself. So there's no reason to protect him. Oh, because it's one of the best teams. That's more the reason to test him. Maybe he gets a message and he comes out shining and steals a game. I'm sorry, he didn't play horrendously bad, but he loses his net a lot. And there's goals. When I watch those goals in the highlights, they're too weak. The goals that are going in on them, they're just far too soft. This just always down, and you can see that he loses track of his net. He's just always from one side or another, just off by half a body in the proper position he should be in. So to me, sorry, trade him, put him on waivers, whichever. He's the guy that has to be the odd man out. He just does not have the caliber of the other two. So that being said, he's a nice kid, but maybe by some fluke, maybe another organization picks him up, and the pressure of not playing in Montreal changes things. But somebody's got to work on his positioning. So to me, he's just too fragile. And I know Murdy said, "Oh, it wasn't a case of the goaltender." Murdy's being nice because he knows this guy's. It's up to this kid now to prove himself, and that wasn't proving yourself enough. Just because he makes one save, that it was flashy. Man, you guys go on. Some people go on like this was one save. Come on, guys. Come on. One save doesn't mean he played a good game. Okay? Let's be real and let's be honest. Put our expectations where they belong. So that being said, we knew it was going to be a doozer. I forget who we're playing next, but I believe at that point, I know I will be doing a review of the next game. So thank you for joining me. Where does the puck drop first? Here at Center Ice. Please tell your friends and family. Hit the likes and the subscribes. I muchly appreciate your backing us and helping us grow. It's muchly appreciated, believe me. And yes, yeah, it's the Blue Jackets that are into Montreal Thursday night. So I will be back with a review on that game, and hopefully this one's televised because last night couldn't get it down here in the East Coast. All right, well, thank you for joining me, and all the best to you. Where's Puck Drop First? Here at Center Ice. God bless you. And David Savard is, again, broken wrist, somewhere from 2 to 6 weeks is what we're hearing. Take care. God bless.